Last week, I spent 5 days walking you through where your emotional loop leaks: money, relationships, business decisions, body. If you missed any of it, go back and listen. It is essential context for what I am about to share today. This week, I am going somewhere different. Most entrepreneurs spend their entire career inside the loop without even knowing there is another way to run a business. They think the anxiety, the reactivity, the 2 a.m. decisions, the constant second guessing, they think that is just what entrepreneurship feels like. It is not. It is what running a business from a loop feels like. And there's another mode entirely. I'm going to call it alignment for this series. And today I'm breaking down the first of four things that change when you step into it. Shift number one: your decision gets quieter. The noise underneath every decision made from a loop, the what ifs, the second guessing, the rehearsal of conversation, the post decision regret, why this is part of that. This double questioning of stuff, the negative relationship of every decisions, and abrupt decision that makes you regret what you did. This all comes from a baggage of emotion that is hiding underneath the burden of the name called productivity. And this productivity is very well associated with entrepreneurship, and it's is put in a manner by most of the people that it's part of this journey. Yes, difficult decision making, coming out of the comfort zone, that is part of entrepreneurship. I agree. But second guessing, the rehearsal of conversations, the post decision regret, that is not. That is more like part of the emotional loop. And these emotional loop come from very earlier stage. These are not something which is developed now. It underlines the confidence factor that is associated with decision making or being at the level of entrepreneur. It also takes into consideration that how your relationship with in terms of achieving something, doing something is in context to what you have learned throughout your journey of your life. And this all small build-ups of emotional loops, relationships, view with your past, with your experiences, it all boils down to create small doubts in your head. And those doubts lead out in these factors. And these factors in turn create a negative spiral. And that negative spiral starts making you question on each and every turn of your decision making running the business. Now, why this noise is not being thorough? It is the loop running the decision, not you. This noise doesn't just come randomly. You must have noticed if you are getting accustomed to getting these stuffs, they are coming on a repeated cycle every time. Most of the people think it's trying to teach me something. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. The first one, where the teaching context is, yes, it is part of it, but not completely part of it. The second, of doing a mistake, that is where the self doubt, uncertainty, everything comes into picture, and you start self sabotaging the growth instead of making a decision, instead of being the founder, and instead of being the entrepreneur. But much more than that is the issuematic stuff which causes the damage to your business from the running of these loops underneath. When you start questioning and when these noise starts affecting your line of work in your own head, it directly impacts the business, it directly impacts the team, it directly impacts the numbers, it directly impacts the operations, and anything and everything related to the organization and the business. But what changes from alignment? Alignment makes sure this noise drops out. You still make decisions. You just stop arguing with yourself before and after. Every step you take, every decision you take, every move forward you take are coming from a perspective of a whole truth, a whole different self confidence, a whole new idea. Because with alignment, you get connected to yourself. There doesn't lie any second thought, there doesn't lie any regrets in any direction. So, the real example from your life that gets associated to this, think about it. I would like to give one of the example from my own business. I remember when I was in the start of the hospitality venture, there were few decision making which were necessary that was supposed to be taken at that time, and it was clearly on the lines of finance coming in and the expansion of the hospitality within a particular time frame. And I remember taking a decision which made sense of investing the money on that ground that time itself, extra money which was not into my percentage base also, but I wanted to complete the project, and the reason for the completion was there was a wedding that was going to run, and I wanted to make sure that I deliver that product to that customer during the time of wedding. Even though it made sense, even though hospitality works in that angle, I was always in second thought. Why did I do that? Why did I could have just stayed back, I could have told the customer no. But that is not who I am, and that is not what I believe in. But that is where I understood the difference between a loop mode and an alignment mode. My underlining feeling told me one thing, but my loop was making me restrictive and double thinking on everything, and creating confusion thoughts. And that same example resulted in a wonderful wedding, probably the best we ever had at our that particular venture till date. Most lavish one, most expensive one we ever conducted. And the client praised the ambience, the hospitality that was given to them, and every bit of family members of theirs and their kids and everyone loved the venue, and we are getting repeated weddings from that particular clientele and his family members, his people who had come for it. I think for the fifth time by now. So why entrepreneurs mistake loud decision making for careful decision making is very important to understand. And how much energy it actually wastes in this small tiny multiple line of decision which they have to take on daily basis at a grand scheme of level is a lot. Today's example only which I saw it on LinkedIn is I just read this screenshot where this particular team person was not able to visit the in person event that was conducted by this organization, founder organization only. The founder got clearly got pissed on the employee, told him you're fired, take your day off directly, and it's creating a big dual comment section on LinkedIn. Few are supporting them, few are supporting the founder, but many are pretty much angry of the way the founder did. And this goes into the toxic culture kind of a scenario as well. And many times, when you operate from these loops, when you operate from that emotion, the suppressed anger, the running of same patterns, you end up doing something which kind of you regret upon later in life. And as an entrepreneur journey, it's a very crucial role first of all to take in your own hands, and when something like that happens, it clearly and directly reflects on the brand value, on the team, on everything, on the image factor, and plus it generates much more 10 times unfolded tensions which comes along with it. Let me give you an example, another example of a coaching call which I had. The founder who spent 3 weeks deciding whether to hire a senior and finally made the call in 10 minutes once he saw his loop. There was a very deep underlying loop over there, which, because it was much more of a fixer personality, and everything he wanted to do on his own, every load, every pressure, every anger, everything, every frustration was onto himself. And even though he was not able to keep up with the task which was needed very urgently to be done, and but he was hesitating so much to hire a senior person, even though the funds were there, even though everything was there, but this emotional loop barrier of fixer personality was not letting him do. But after a clarity call which he had with me, he clearly got an insight on many much more deeper level of thing, which in turn made him hire that particular person. Let me give you another loop call example which I had, that was at the start of this month. If I or it was on 2nd of April if I'm not wrong. The entrepreneur of that particular company had a chasing loop mentality, who kept chasing every deal because her A1 loop could not stop, until she realized chasing was the pattern, not the strategy. Because of which she was investing in wrong ideas, leading her time into wrong methodologies, which was in turn costing her. And she kind of knew that at the subconscious level, that somewhere self sabotage is happening, but she was not able to control that self sabotage. Sometimes, it's right in front of your eyes, but you're not able to see it. In her case, that happened. Now, I start this series with decisions because this is the shift that compounds fastest. Every alignment decision saves you hours of rumination. Every quiet choice saves you days of second guessing. You do not become a different founder overnight. You just stop running the commentary that was exhausting you. And once decision gets quieter, the next three shifts start stacking naturally and beautifully. The load and the pressure lifts so much compared to before, from your shoulders, from your chest. You wouldn't even realize. Shift 2 drops on Thursday episode. And this is the one most entrepreneurs feel fastest in their body within 48 hours of stepping into alignment. And this one hits. If you want to know which specific loop is currently running your decisions, go to my Instagram at Reset Entropy. Find the entropy code. Two pics. DM me. I will send you your loop profile, including how your code specifically shows up in your decision making. And if you are ready to sit with me directly on this, I am opening limited one on one clarity call this month. 30 minutes, no pitch. You bring one decision you are stuck on. I show you the loop running underneath it. DM me and I will send you the time slots. I'll see you on Thursday.